What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pat's Chat. We are a proud member of the CLNS Media Network. Make sure to hit subscribe on the Pat's Chat channel, Patriots Press Pass, everywhere. And turn on notifications for when a new video drops on the channel. Also, rate, review, subscribe, do all that stuff on our podcast page as well. Michael.
Yes.
The Patriots advanced in the playoffs. They broke Justin Herbert as a human being. And this was a big statement win for the Patriots, in my opinion.
I agree. I was just looking for a football to hold up so everyone would know what we're talking about, but I couldn't. I don't know. My football's gone and missing. But yeah.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
All right. Everyone's locked in now. I am looking forward to next year because we can stop doing
next year.
Because we can stop doing this. But if you said in August that this team was going to win a playoff game, you would get smacked in the throat. You would get just a right on the neck and be like, "Shut up, don't talk." So as much as last night was not the most beautiful offensive showcase,
I thought it was a fun game to watch. Actually, I'm trying not to be like a football hipster about it. But
yeah, no. Defense is part of football. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you probably had moments last night if you're a Patriots fan where you're like, geez, it doesn't look great. But you won convincingly. You won by 2 scores, and you won in a game where, despite the fact that technically scoreboard-wise, you were like 1 play away from falling behind, it never felt like you were not in control. And as a result, you're now in the big boy playoffs. That's what I call divisional weekend. They've achieved my success rate that I laid out. Like, wild card, there's some teams that win wild card games. It's like, whatever, you made it to the divisional round. Like, that's a big deal.
It's true. I almost you bringing up next year made me remember. I almost quote tweeted a guy, but I'm trying to limit my quote tweets just because I think usually when people quote tweet fans, it doesn't reflect well on them. So I want to try to stop doing it as much as possible.
Sure.
But when it wasn't going too well for the Patriots, someone was in my replies being like, "All right, it's time to start talking about what edge rushers they can get in the draft." I wanted to quote tweet to be like, "Sir, there's a playoff game going on right now, like right this second. We can't be thinking about now. Like, this is what you want to get to. This is what you want. I know things aren't going well right now, but maybe they will start going better. Let's get this one out of the way first before we start talking about the draft and all that stuff." But I feel like this game was a gauge because, listen, no one wants to hear about the schedule that the Patriots played at this point, but it was a reality going into this game of the fact that, yeah, they beat some decent teams, but the only team with a winning record they beat was the Bills. The game yesterday, you could criticize the Chargers, offensive line, their offense in general, Justin Herbert in the playoffs, whatever. The Chargers were a legitimate playoff team, and the Patriots beat them by multiple scores. And yeah, it wasn't always pretty. It was a friggin' rock fight through the first 3 quarters of the game. But God, I mean, that defensive stand that the Patriots had after the interception, good, even bad offenses score in that situation. They score touchdowns.
Yeah.
They gain a few yards on you. The Patriots defense played as well as they've played clearly all season, and about as well as any defense has played this year. They were absolutely immaculate in that game.
Yeah, and there were times, even maybe in the first half, and Herbert was kind of shredding them with his legs a little bit through the course of or in the field, not in red zone, obviously.
Right.
Where you're kind of like, man, this offensive line is all-time bad, and they're not getting to him.
Right.
I think a lot of people sort of took that as the story of the game and sort of glossed over the fact that they friggin' got to him in the second half. Every single snap. I don't know if you saw the graphic PFF put out that they had 30 pressures is indicative of, yes, there were times where I said, wow, they're not taking advantage of this offensive line. They ended up, in totality doing that. And that was, but you're right. I think that that goal line stand, that was a dicey moment. You get a double deflection pick is, I would add this, not just a pick. The turnover luck really didn't go your way because you got a nice strip sack on Justin Herbert, and it turns into a 15-yard gain for the
ball
Chargers.
Just fell on the ground right in front of Kamani Vidal,
and he picked it up and he was cooking for 15
Yeah.
yards. And it's like, that is the definition of bad luck. So you had a number of things go against you where, a defensive lineman pops it up in the red zone
Yeah.
and he still only gave up 3 points. I mean, that's not nothing. Now, granted, the only other team to do that to the Chargers this year, do you know who else held them to 3 points? One team did.
Oh God, who was it?
The best defense in the league, the Denver Broncos.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say it was like the Browns or something.
No, they were held to single digits twice before this. The Jaguars held them to 6. But I think I don't think many of us looked at it going into the playoffs. I do think we said, Drake Maye is how you win and lose these games.
Right.
I think it changes a little bit based on the fact that your defense was, and now granted, like if you play a good offensive line, you won't hold them to 3 points, but if you can hold a good team to 10, 13 points, you can win some of these rock fights, like you said.
No, absolutely. And the Patriots had, looks like a 68.2% pressure rate in this game. That's according to Sumer Sports.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, this is not Bolts talk. I don't know. It's the best I could come up with.
I like
Chargers
Bolt, man.
chat.
I miss Bolt, man.
If you're a Chargers fan, you just have to deal with it, obviously, because you're not going to get a better quarterback than Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
But as Phil Perry put it last night, he's not beating the allegations for being a bad playoff performer. And he was not helped by his offensive line, but he also just looked completely lost whenever there was pressure.
Yep.
And the Patriots blitzed like hell. Like, Drake Maye's been amazing against the blitz this season. Justin Herbert had no idea what to do when the blitz was coming. And he's got some good pass catchers. Like, going 4 deep as far as pass catchers go and having McConkey, Allen, Johnston, and Gadsden, you're not going to do a whole lot better than that. And like McConkey's a guy who can get open quickly. He was lost. Greg Roman was lost. It was a really terrible performance by the Chargers offense, but also obviously an incredible performance by the Patriots defense.
Yeah, and I found it interesting after the game. I forget the exact question, but it was to Vrabel, and it was about what allowed your defense to do that well. And he said they were able to stop the run. And it really was an underrated thing because I think, didn't Omari and Hampton have 1 carry for a loss of
negative 1 yards? Yeah.
And Vidal, outside of the fumble Ruski play, didn't have much of an impact at all. No. And now, like I said, Herbert ran a few times. There were some running lanes, but
like scrambles are kind of different. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think to a degree they were willing to have that be a vulnerability if it meant there were no downfield passes and no big plays. So I think that's sort of an underrated thing. And that led to them just being able to just go all out at the quarterback. There were a couple, we've seen struggling Patriots offensive lines over the past couple of years struggle with stunts. It's clearly it worked last night for the Patriots against a bad offensive line. So I think there's ways to eventually make that matter. But I did find it interesting that I wasn't thinking that really post game. Like, wow, they stopped the run and that allowed the defense to do what it did. But if you think about it, it really makes sense.
Yeah, and that is kind of the formula for defenses is that, like, if you make the opposing team one-dimensional, then you can kind of sell out as pass rushers and really start eliminating or like really start beating up the offensive line. And that's why when you'll sometimes talk to pass rushers and be like, oh, why weren't you able to get pressure? Why weren't you able to get sacks? And they're like, well, they weren't in many 3rd and long situations. And that's when you can actually, like Pat's chat favorite, pin your ears back and get after the quarterback, because otherwise you do have to fear the run and you can't just like go all out to get to the quarterback if there's a possibility that they're going to be running the ball. So once they made them one-dimensional, once they did eliminate the run, once they were able to get a relatively decent lead, then yes, that's what they were able to do. And they showed that they can beat up a bad offensive line. I don't know what this will look like up against a better offensive line, but if they can get a big lead, I think they'll go into that game with confidence. So yeah, I mean, I really had no idea what this game was going to go like. I predicted the Patriots to win by 3, but I would say my confidence was dwindling as the game got near, just because I really was like, I don't know what the Patriots are going to look like in the playoffs. I don't know what they'll look like against Herbert, what they'll look like against a really good Chargers defense. And now we aren't going to talk about next week, obviously, until we even know who the opponent is. But I'm just going to have more confidence about the Patriots being able to win based on this performance.
I agree. I think it adds a different element. And we saw Drake Maye, and we'll probably do some deep Drake Maye talk. We saw him make a beautiful touchdown pass.
Yep.
We saw him use his legs to a degree. There was a pass to the boundary to Booty where he friggin' whipped it. It looked like, we saw, probably shouldn't bring up Mac Jones, but like we saw in that element, it was a Mac Jones pick six special. Like
right
to the boundary with the corner who was breaking with the receiver, and the ball just got on Booty right in front of and it's like the arm strength, even though like it was not probably an MVP type performance, you saw plenty there. But I think the point is the element that you can win on a B- C+ night from Drake Maye is something that I don't think anyone had. I almost said on their bingo card. I hate the bingo.
You would have just had to hit end stream if you had done that.
You know what's really disappointing? One time I searched my Twitter history for bingo card, and I had said it like a half dozen times, and that's brutal. But anyways, I don't think anyone's playoff previews included the Patriots winning games with a mediocre, by his standards, Drake Maye performance. And now
we'll get into booms and dooms later, but I don't think Maye would have been on anyone's boom list coming out of this game.
I wonder too.
Obviously, a really good second half. I think he was 11 of 14 in the second half. Really pulled it together. Great touchdown throw to Hunter Henry, and quickness and speed on that option run. That was impressive.
Oh, the okie doke. The okie doke option was nice. That was nice. I think it was Khalil Mack out there, and he just totally bit on it. It's like, how could you not? How could you not bite on it? It's an option. That was a nice one. But I just think the way that it sort of can change the shape going forward is, let's say, just project out a path. You have a Steelers offense that looked slow last week. I know you had DK Metcalf. You have the Texans, which is really just Nico Collins and then not much else. You have a Broncos offense that is not very good. I think the Bills offense with Josh Allen is still the biggest threat out there. But all those other teams except Buffalo, you could now lay out scenarios where the Patriots win the game with a stifling defensive performance. I think that's realistic.
Yeah, I think, not to get too far out ahead of our skis or whatever, but the Steelers are probably the one that you would want the most in this next matchup. But
you think so?
Yeah. I mean, Texans defense is still, they're another level above the Chargers, where it's actually a pretty similarly constructed team. Stroud doesn't scare you as much as Herbert, even though now that we've seen playoff Herbert 3 times, I don't know if Herbert's going to scare anyone in the playoffs, but
true.
In the regular season, at least Stroud is not as good as Herbert. Chargers, like their Texans offensive line is obviously better, but I don't know. I think that the Steelers are just honestly not even a good team. Yeah. So
even
at least the Texans have a good defense. At least the Chargers have a good defense. The Steelers are just kind of like there. Someone had to win that division, and they did.
Yeah, I was listening to Vrabel on the radio this morning, and started getting asked, if you do face Pittsburgh again, like blah blah blah, and he cut off the question and was just like, hold on to the ball, protect the ball, protect the ball. So clearly, they turned it over 5 times and almost won. That was ancient history, it was a long time ago. But yeah, I would agree that would kind of be, but at the same time, a team that wins this week is going to be like, you're going to face a team that just won a playoff game. So it's not, I don't think they have an easy run no matter what it is.
No, it's not, not easy, but I don't know. I feel like I watched enough Steelers games where it's just like, I don't know. But
I did
getting back to this.
Well, I did a poll. Might as well do it now. I put it on Twitter. I asked Patriots fans, who do they want to see next week? Steelers is currently at 76.9% of the vote. The Texans, just 2.2%. Now you might be wondering, Doug, that doesn't
add up to 100.
No preference is 12.7%, and 8.3% selected Hurley, you're a loser. So we've got to run the gamut, but I believe you speak
for that's not higher.
You speak for the overwhelming majority of fans that the Steelers would be a beneficial matchup.
Yeah. I before we get into like booms and dooms and everything else, want to give a special shout out to the crowd in this one.
Okay.
They were bringing it. Honestly, more so than maybe even like the Dynasty era days.
Okay.
It was it was pretty impressive. I mean, maybe it was like maybe the Gillette in general does a better job in the Mike Vrabel era than in the Bill Belichick era of like hyping fans up and doing the pregame introductions and like they're turning the lights off now. There's like glowing lights everywhere, but even like bringing out Logan Ryan and Danny Amendola to tell everyone to like stand up and everything, it worked. And the crowd was on fire the whole time. They were singing along to their songs. They were making noise on defense. It was an impressive crowd. You know how sometimes the press box shakes
Yeah,
because
it rattles.
the upper deck is like jumping up and down.
Yeah.
I'd say that in like that usually happens once, maybe twice a game. It happened like 4 or 5 times. We were like, "Oh, hopefully this doesn't crash down and I die."
Yeah, that'd be bad.
But
Yeah, I know that
it's fun when it happens.
the seams that
You
hold
need
the
some
windows
fear in your
together,
life.
those gray metal seams start, and you're like, oh, okay, there's really no way out from here. But I think there's also the element, it was pent up, you know?
Yes,
We take it for
absolutely.
granted because we covered a lot of playoff games over the years, and it was sort of, I mean, a wild card game. No one was getting excited for a wild card game in the mid 2010s or the early 2000s. Like it was commonplace. I mean, they weren't even playing on this weekend a lot, but I think the fact that you haven't hosted one in 6 years, a lot of people laugh. Like I know people will be like, "Oh, the Patriots fans didn't have to wait for like those last 5 years were brutal. They were tough to watch." And I think you saw a lot of that sort of pent up just ecstasy to be in this moment. So definitely the fact that you had this season, like to have these home games and you have another one next week, I think that's a big thing.
One other point on that, and this might just be a me thing, but it felt almost odd as someone covering it that the Patriots were going into a playoff game and it felt legitimately possible that they were going to lose. And I know like that sounds dumb, but because 2021 was the same way, but that was on the road. Like you kind of knew they were going to lose in that one. So there was almost like no stakes.
I wanna hand up on that. Can I hand up?
Sure.
Given how well they ran the ball in the tornado game in Buffalo, I was like, they got a chance because that was what they run for 250 yards. Like I thought they could do that again, and they clearly could not. So I don't know that I thought they'd win, but I thought there was a chance.
But basically from when I covered the team from 2012 up until 2019, let's say.
Yeah.
You went in like you would go into playoff games being like, all right, they're going to win this one. Like an early playoff game, a first round or a second round. They were like, okay, you'll win this one. Then they play this team or whatever. Like there was just I don't know if it was even a confidence or a belief or just a knowing that, all right, well, clearly they're going to win this game. And then you move on. But this was a wild card round where it was like, wow, I mean, this season could be over as soon as this game ends. Like the season could be absolutely done. It's true stakes that didn't exist in a lot of those games in the 2010s.
I think about the Tebow game, 2011, right?
Right.
They won like 45-10. That was never. They had Brady punting on third down. It was a joke of a game. You had the Texans. I think it was 2016 in the divisional round. Is that right? Yeah, where the Patriots played awful. They had like the sloppiest game, and they won by 3 touchdowns probably. So these games were always just sort of like the tune-up. It's definitely different stakes now in the fact that, again, I know the Bills won and everyone's going to be worried about the Bills. It's still, I think, a flat, even AFC field. Like I would not like any of these matchups for anyone more than a coin flip.
Patriots and Bills beat each other this year.
It's true. And like I know the Broncos, we haven't seen the playoffs yet, but there's still any machination you can do out looks like a coin, looks like exactly what you described.
Right.
Like it's going to be like that next week, and if they win, it's going to be like that the next week. Like which is crazy because that means for as much as they have a chance to lose, what does it mean on the flip side, Doug?
They have just as much of a chance to win.
Crazy
it
times.
Really is crazy. Offensively, Ramondre Stevenson had another monster game. He's just
Alvin
playing
Kamara
on a different level right now.
That wasn't Alvin Kamara. He's had 3 games this year where he looks like one of those guys, you know?
Right.
Both Dolphins game and then this one where it's just like he can move like that, like the speed, that move along the sideline.
Yeah.
The speed on the 48-yard or whatever it was. Like he
just
looked
kept
like
on going on that one.
He looks like one of those guys that, is a top 10 pick.
And this was a funny moment where I was like clicking on tweets after the game or whatever was happening. And on a couple of the tweets I was clicking on, people were like, why is Trevion Henderson even in the game? Like, put Ramondre out there. It's like, whoa, how the tables have turned since the beginning of the season when people were losing their minds to get Trevion Henderson on the field more.
But was that like mostly a weird fantasy outcry? I feel like there was a lot of
So
people.
yes, it was, but
there was also like the fandom.
listen,
True.
the 3 fumbles in the first 5 games, I know it's not, it wasn't coming from a rational place maybe, but there were legitimately fans and let's call them like radio hosts who wanted Ramondre Stevenson to not only get benched, but cut after those. And like rational human beings like yourself and me were saying, hey, the third running back is Terrell Jennings, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
And Trevion Henderson can't pass protect, so you also can't do that. But we're rational human beings. Yeah. There were people who like are smart, who are intelligent, who actually wanted Ramondre Stevenson to get cut from the football team. And Mike Vrabel stood beside him, supported him, said he's one of our best players. We're going to need him. We're going to need him moving forward. And by God, the Patriots have needed him over the last 5 weeks because he has basically been playing like the best running back in football over the last 5 weeks. And it's a really cool redemption arc because Stevenson fumbled 7 times last season. Stevenson lost his father in March. And the team stood beside him, or like not obviously they did, but like they supported him even though they didn't know each other. Mike Vrabel was talking this week about how he's sending him texts. He wouldn't always respond, but like they really wanted to let him know that they were beside him in all of this. Season starts. He fumbles 3 times in 5 games, and it looks like, oh God, it's a repeat of last year. He has a toe injury, comes back from that, doesn't really look like himself, looks slow, looks plodding, and then out of nowhere, he's playing significantly better than the offensive rookie of the year candidate. And it's just been a really cool story.
I agree. And he's always had sort of those flashes, but I don't know that he's put it together in sort of which we were just talking a few weeks now. Like he averaged 5.3 yards per carry last night. And that's unfortunately not great for him. You'd like to see him over 7 typically.
I mean, he still averaged over 9 per touch.
That's true. He was a great receiver, but yeah, it was certainly, I don't think, when you lay out to this game, you never know, or any game, you never know who that guy is going to be for the Patriots. But the fact that it is him, it's not a shock, which probably 4 months ago would have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, receiving wise, Kayshon Boutte, it was good to see him have a bounce back game because really since he had the hamstring injury midway through the season, he hasn't fully looked like himself. He had another hamstring injury coming into this week, but like Julian Edelman said during the game that Boutte basically like stole an interception by coming back for the ball.
Oh, that one up the left sideline. And May made a mention of that after the game too.
And then he did it again when he came back for another pass. And I think that's the throw that you were talking about. And like, it was a great throw, but if he doesn't come back and if he's not aggressive for that ball, that could have been picked as well. So I remember, what game was it? There was a game where he really like did not fight for a pass near the goal line. Was that the Ravens game? It wound up being an interception.
The Ravens game was not long ago. So for us to be stuck on it. No, it was earlier than that. I want to say we could probably just look at Drake Maye's interception line.
I know, that's what I'm looking at right now. So it was on the road, so it might have been the Bengals. Was it the Bengals game?
How many interceptions did you have there?
1.
Trying to remember it.
Yeah.
I remember. I thought it was
because Boutte was targeted twice and caught both passes. So it must have been the Ravens game.
I thought it was a national game, so Ravens would check that box.
It was definitely on the road. I was not at Gillette watching this. Boutte had 1 catch on 3 targets for 16 yards. So it must have been that one. Just like didn't really look like himself in that game. Didn't seem like he was fighting for passes. And now for him to come back in this one, and what do you have, 64 yards? Yeah.
Just Drake Maye pass, short right intended for Kayshon Boutte, intercepted by Marlon Humphrey and returned for no gain.
Yeah.
It was on a
Yep.
3rd and 4.
And then there was the DPI, the non-DPI late in the game. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling to visualize it. I'm sorry. This was bad podcasting by me. I'll run a lap.
It was thrown to Boutte's like inside shoulder maybe, and he just like didn't really like do anything to prevent the interception.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
This is rare where I can remember a moment in a game, and you can't, because usually you can like remember some crazy thing that happened in some like 1994 game in November.
Yeah, I'm better at the older stuff, to be honest with you. If it happened if it starts with a 202, I probably need to look it up. That's just a sad state of affairs.
That might say something about us both.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boutte had a good game. Hunter Henry, obviously a good performance. Stephon Diggs had at least one drop in this game.
Mm-hmm. By the sideline, right?
But seemed like he was getting doubled a decent amount in this game as well.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to get beat by him. I want to throw into this mix because when it happened live, I said 0.0% chance did he get both feet down, and that was Kyle Williams with a huge 3rd down.
Oh, yeah.
Was that 4th down?
I
think it was 4th down.
Might have been 4th, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, you better get to the line. And they showed the replay, and sure enough, despite a little bobble, he had both feet down. So a play, I don't know that that's his forte, Kyle Williams. Right. I don't know. I assume his forte is running deep routes. But to have that sort of sideline awareness was, don't gloss over 4th down in the playoffs. Toe tapping on the sideline is pretty good.
No, absolutely not. And Efton Chisholm made a catch in the wild card round of the playoffs. 1 catch, 20 yards.
Bad pass.
I think that
I'd shelve the Chisholm pass for now.
So not Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola from a passing perspective, Efton Chisholm. I will say though that I think that play got blown up a little bit too much, where maybe they should have just scrapped the whole thing once the Chargers got such a push on the right side of the line.
It was similar to, remember a couple of weeks ago, they ran a 4th down run sideways.
Right.
That's what this one started as. And it was like,
before he pitched it to Chisholm, I was like, what is he doing? Why is he running backwards with this ball?
Everything was collapsed. And I think it took Chisholm's normal sort of end around route back a little deeper.
I think it brought him too far back to where then he was having to throw the ball further than he had to. Yeah.
And now if you watched Tom Brady yesterday, I know you were probably commuting, so you missed some of Brady. Brady was excellent in the Eagles game. But at one point he was better lately. Yeah, he was really good. Well, I want to talk about it later, but he was talking about throwing through the wind. I think the clip's gone everywhere by now. But he was saying you don't want the U throw. You don't, because then the ball tips up and then the wind can get it. You want more of like a C throw. So like you're kind of like whipping it down. I think Efton Chisholm did the full grip on the point of the ball and just threw it end over end, because that was probably the worst pass I've ever seen in my life.
So it is funny because
people blame Drake Maye for stopping. I'm like, did you see the throw?
Right. Kyle Williams was a high school quarterback.
Really?
Even Marte Mapu was a high school quarterback. But Kyle Williams was a high school quarterback. In the future, I might have him throw that. I don't think Efton Chisholm was ever a high school quarterback.
He was not. I looked it up. Yeah. I was like, has he thrown a ball before? I could not find evidence of a pass.
I feel like even like watching warm-ups when he's having to throw the ball, it's like not always. I don't know. Obviously, no one's expecting that to happen, but I'm probably having someone else throw that pass, whether it's Hunter Henry, who I think has been the emergency quarterback at times on this team. Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd pocket the Chisholm one. Throw that in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Did you see, you were at the game, so maybe you didn't see, they cut right to Vrabel after that. And it was what you'd expect.
Let's talk about Prize Picks real quick. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. Michael, we came so close.
I still think we were right.
And yet, we came so far.
I still think we were correct.
I agree.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault that Justin Herbert can't find his only receiver more often.
Yeah. So going in the Prize Picks app right now, very easy to find our 4-pick power play loss. So we got Ladd McConkey over or more than 2.5 receptions. We got Aronde Gadsden more than 1.5 receptions. We got Ramondre Stevenson more than 37.5 rushing yards. And we came 7.5 receiving yards away from getting Ladd McConkey 39.5 receiving yards. I thought it was going to happen on the final drive
Yeah, it
because on
should
that
have.
final drive, the Patriots didn't give one hoot about the Chargers going down the field as long as they ate up time on the clock, which the
Dinkin' and
Chargers
Duncan.
graciously were doing. So I figured, you know what? I think we're going to get 7 more yards out of McConkey because he did go more than 2.5 receptions on that drive. Didn't quite get to 39.5 receiving yards. So we live and learn, you know. Maybe next time we only do 1 prize pick for Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
We just take the receptions. But yeah. Otherwise, 3 out of 4, not too bad.
Yeah, we're improving, but we've got work to do.
We do. So that was fun.
I would take a bunch of less thans tonight in the Steelers Texans.
I think that's smart. But you can download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Can I just ask something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
So it is Monday at 9:39 a.m.
Sure.
And the Patriots we know are playing on Sunday next week.
Correct.
But they've not decided whether the Patriots are playing at 3 or 6:30.
Correct.
The 3 other playoff games, we know the matchups for. This is the only one we're waiting on.
Yeah.
How difficult would it be to just make a decision? I guess what they're doing is that if it's the Steelers, they probably want it to be 6:30. If it's the Texans, it's 3. But it's like, come on, just make up your damn mind.
Yeah, well, everything's an equation. I mean, the fact that these games are at 3 and 6:30 instead of 1 and 4:30 just tells you like this is just all a TV show, and that's what it's all about. So I would guess the Pittsburgh football market massive. The Houston football market pretty massive.
Is bigger, but not as
I guess nationally they want the national appeal, and the Steelers have a much broader national appeal, and like the Bears and the Rams are the other game. The Bears, I would say, are
that's the other Sunday game?
Yes.
Interesting.
So you're working with, the second biggest TV market, even though the Rams, they have good national. I would say the Steelers have the broadest national appeal of those 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they want them in that window. If not, they'll go to Rams Bears in the late window. And seems to be sensible.
Is that fair to the 49ers?
Why?
Shouldn't the 49ers be playing on Sunday?
I mean, it's more so. Well, let's see. Tomorrow, like the winner of Texans Steelers cannot play on Saturday, so that game has to be.
No, obviously that game's on Sunday.
But yeah, I mean,
Bears Rams easily could have been on a Saturday. Both those teams played on Saturday.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. The
49ers have to travel from Philly to San Francisco, and then play on a short week. Like, I don't know, whatever.
Should have won your division, bro.
I guess
I
they
don't
should
know.
have won their division. That shocks me, though.
Yeah, I guess it's not really the interest of fairness. I think it's the interest of the TV show.
It is. There is also an element for the Patriots where, like, it's not. I mean, clearly, I don't know. It kind of sucks for them that they can't start preparing for their opponent until midnight on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, they have advanced scouts for this stuff. They should be prepared for both, and then you throw half of it in the trash.
Yeah.
Plus, they know Pittsburgh well enough. Like, all the prep work they did is probably mostly still relevant today as it was in September.
Yeah.
And it comes down to...
It's not ideal, but it is what it is. Just a Monday night playoff game in general. They're fun. It's cool that we get to watch a game tonight, but...
Yeah, no, Monday night playoff stinks. It's
maybe not as fair as it should be.
I would guess. I should have done this. I should have looked it up. Do you think any team has ever won the Super Bowl after playing the Monday night game of Wild Card Weekend?
Oh, wow. Well, how long has it even been going on for?
A few years, right? Like since they went to one bye, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It's a really interesting question.
I should have prepped.
So the Vikings and the Rams did not win the Super Bowl last year.
Confirmed.
The Buccaneers did not win the Super Bowl in 2023. nor did the Eagles because they lost in that game.
Yeah.
The Cowboys and the Buccaneers did not win the Super Bowl in 2022.
Nope.
The Cardinals and the Rams in 2021. When did the Rams win the Super Bowl?
2021.
So yeah, the answer
So
is
the
yes.
Rams. All right.
There we go.
Touche.
Yeah.
In your face.
So it's happened at least once. I'm not going to keep going because we got our answer.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Wrong again. Are we
I don't know if
booming?
you were even wrong, but I think
Well,
you
it
were
was just
curious.
it just feels as though they're setting you up to not win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And to be frank, the Rams wouldn't have won the Super Bowl if Todd Bowles didn't put in Cooper Kupp in single coverage after Tom Brady led the Buccaneers back from wasn't it 27-3 deficit, brought them all the way back, and then it was gone in a flash because Todd Bowles had one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life, and then was rewarded for it and was promoted to the head coach, a position he still holds.
Still has the job, even
Crazy.
though Matt LaFleur somehow in limbo.
Yeah. So hand up again. This is my second hand up. Often when I watch football these days, and coaches, like especially Dan Campbell being the biggest offender, when they don't take the field goal and it doesn't work, you're like, those were points. You know, when it's 4th and goal from the 6 and you go for it and don't get it, it's like, yeah. So that being said, when the Bears kicked their 3rd field goal of the night on Saturday to go 21-9, I was like, you know what? It's not happening. I'm gonna head in. I'm gonna turn in, and missed quite the meltdown from the Packers. So that's on me. But I would understand that. He's been there a long time. LaFleur has.
He has. I do think he's a good coach. It's hard
I think
to get those offensive minds. I don't know.
Teams like that, and maybe Miami fell victim to this. They're like, oh, John Harbaugh's out there. And it's like, I mean, good coach, good leader, good organization leader, but like not exactly winning the Super Bowl every year.
No.
So you got to make sure you improve.
Also 63 at this point. I know, like, I think Harbaugh will probably wind up still being himself, but there's a possibility that Harbaugh joins a new team and the wheels just come off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you can tread water on your current team for a long time.
Right. Because there's like sort of an establishment that you
It's like
created.
with Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, and even like Belichick with the Patriots up to a certain point. The expectations are set. You're running the same defense. You're running the same offense, like, or not in the Patriots case, but still. And like, you can kind of just go from year to year and have some of the same success. But then if you join a new organization, you have to like prove yourself to all these new people.
Yeah.
Then the Pete Carroll Raiders situation happens, or the Bill Belichick UNC situation happens, where it's like, whoa, okay, that voice is not getting through new people.
Mm-hmm.
It was only working with the old folks. So
yeah. Even I mentioned this recently, like Rex Ryan's Bills tenure was 5 minutes long.
Yeah. Right.
The second, like the new place is not always the old place.
No. Sometimes they're like looking at each other side eye, being like, who the hell is this guy? Clearly did not happen on the Patriots this season.
No. And I mean, Harbaugh was what, 43 when he got the Ravens job? So things change.
Booms and dooms.
Booms and dooms.
So
I need your help on one of these.
Do you want to lead off or do you want me to?
Well, Ramondre Stevenson's your number one boom. I don't think there's any. We already covered that.
Oh, interesting.
Really? You go pass rush over him?
I might go Milton Williams.
Okay. Well, I start with Ramondre Stevenson. I think that 48-yard play was probably the biggest play of the game to get out of your own end zone.
For sure.
After your stop.
And to get any points out of that was huge.
Yeah, and I just thought he was super reliable in a game where the passes were all spread out. I think 9 guys caught. Jack Westover caught a pass. Chisholm caught a pass.
He was going to be my number one boom, but
Westover.
Yeah.
He was really the offensive standout, and so if let's say Stevenson, I don't know, got diarrhea at 8 p.m. last night and couldn't play, do they win? I say no, so I put him number one.
That's fair. Milton Williams.
That's called the diarrhea corollary in football circles, and that's what you've got to weigh out when you're doing these things.
Milton Williams looked like he on his first sack. I haven't looked up how quickly he got to the quarterback, but it appeared to be the blink of an eye, the speed of light. He just immediately beat Zion Johnson. Just shoved him straight backwards. Didn't stand a chance against Milton Williams. had the other sack late in the game, just delivering blow after blow, including Mike Vrabel after the game when he headbutt Mike Vrabel and forgot that Vrabel wasn't wearing a helmet, which left Mike Vrabel bloodied even more so than Justin Herbert. I don't know. Just that's the game that you want out of Milton Williams.
Yeah.
When you give him $104 million. And I didn't really know anything about Milton Williams when the Patriots signed him other than what he was on the field. But he is like a hard-nosed, no-nonsense, lead by example, intimidating type of guy that when you sign a free agent and he clearly just wants to take the most amount of money possible,
Right.
you don't really know what you're getting personality-wise out of that guy. And I've just been incredibly impressed with him all year. And this was clearly his biggest moment. Like, as a defensive tackle, to have 2 sacks in a playoff game is not nothing. And I know he was doing that kind of stuff with the Eagles last year too, but like that is massive in a wild card round game.
And I think 2 things you mentioned, like his sort of lead by example. He's still young. Like when you get that big free agent, he's usually more like 28, 29, not
right.
What they get him? 25, 26.
And that's why he cost so much money too, because he was a
Right.
young ascending player that you can get for on the open market. Yeah.
And I'm curious, not to be your director here, but if you talk to Vrabel today, or if you have talked to anyone, like I wonder how much they knew about him because of what you said. He was going to Carolina because they had the biggest offer, and then all of a sudden he's going to New England because they had the biggest offer. So how much of that person, they must have known some of it before you invest that much. But yeah, I mean, that was his best game as a Patriot. I think he, not just the way that, it's just what it does to the whole defensive line. Like it's when you can collapse the pocket from within, it's so much easier for everybody else.
So actually, he did not even have the fastest sack on the game. Anthony Jennings did it 2.7 seconds. He got there fast too.
So that was funny because it's like he hit Herbert like a freight train.
Yeah.
But all he did, like his lane was blocked, and so he just went ahead and cut inside, and there was just nobody there. And it was just like great job offensive line. But so Milton Williams made my booms because he sort of had the exclamation point with the final sack. But what I wanted to come to you with was like, how do we itemize what that defensive line did? Because I don't know. I had Harold Landry as a doom because I didn't see him impact the game despite a team-wide 30 pressures. Maybe I missed it. But what did you see in terms of outside of Milton Williams, how they were able to do what they did?
I'll have to go back and look a little bit more closely, but there were some stunts that they were able to run to get after the quarterback. Obviously, Milton Williams was able to beat his guy immediately on the first sack. Caleb Von Chasen's first sack was Herbert kind of like falling to the ground and Chasen touching him. The second one was huge for him to knock that ball away. And Elijah Ponder giving the exclamation point by just absolutely spearing Justin Herbert and leaving him that's going to be killing himself off the turf.
You talk about the Gillette Stadium crowd when they take the field next week and they're playing a video like before the team takes that hit's going to be cool. There's going to be music to it. That hit was thunder. And you're watching it live and you're like, oh, I think he hit him in the face. It's like, no, he hit him in the sternum.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, there was other good defensive interior pressure. Christian Barmore, I don't know how many pressures he wound up with, but he was certainly in the backfield. Leonard Taylor, the third.
I texted you during the game and I said, all right, I'll bite. Who is Leonard Taylor the third? Because I saw him early on and I can't say that I've seen him play football this year. Am I wrong?
He was elevated 3 times during the season. Elevated again yesterday because they have unlimited elevations from the practice squad. He actually played a lot with the Jets last year as an undrafted rookie. Jets cut him in October. Patriots signed him to the practice squad a couple days later. And he's been a decently good find for them. And I don't really know what they do now when Kairos Tonga comes back. Yeah. I think you probably keep elevating Taylor and maybe don't dress Eric Gregory next week. Because Leonard Taylor's been playing well.
Yeah, he's got 99 snaps this year.
Yeah.
Could have fooled me.
But you asked that. Chasen would be my second boom.
Okay, yeah.
because he had the forced fumble that was massive. 2 sacks once again for any player in the playoffs is big.
Yeah, defense. I just put broadly the defensive line, but I wanted the expert analysis of it. That's why I came to you. My third boom.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably Christian Gonzalez's best game of the year. I'm not saying of his life.
Right.
You could argue that he wasn't going against the best receivers in the league.
No,
but he was unbelievable. I thought
maybe they took our suggestion.
Keenan Allen hit play 2014 highlights.
But
no, he had the coverage on the fourth down. That was a big one. He had the pass breakup, which, not to speculate too much on a head injury, didn't look terrible. Looked more like he had someone land on it, which is better than smacking his head back. And even the way Vrabel phrased it this morning on the radio was like, they wouldn't let him back in.
Okay.
Tells me, I don't know. I don't think Gonzalez like checked out. I think it was a spotter situation, and for whatever reason he didn't pass, but it didn't seem as something that's going to end his playoffs or anything like that.
No. There was that moment during the game where Gonzalez was flagged for pass interference and shoved the guy a split second before the ball hit him in the back.
Yeah.
Which probably could have been DPI if they were going by like the exact letter of the law. But then they immediately called Carlton Davis for defensive pass interference.
Yeah, which was a good call. He had Johnston's arm.
He did. He had Johnston's arm.
But yeah, if like the Gonzalez DPI was like, that guy really wanted to call DPI, because literally all of his buddies came over and were like, "Did you see the play?" And he was like, "No, what happened?" And they were like, "The ball hit him in the back right as he pushed him." And he was like, "Oh, well, and I guess it's not a penalty." It's like, what are we friggin' doing? But
it is always funny when that stuff happens, because like that play happened down the Patriots sideline, so Mike Vrabel could be like screaming and like stating his case. The next one happened on the Chargers sideline, so Mike Vrabel couldn't do that. And I'm like, I wonder if Mike Vrabel had been in their ear, if they would have picked that one up too.
He also, I am a Mike Vrabel radio interview chat today because I just happened to catch it.
I didn't hear it, so I'm glad you're informing me.
But he was asked what he was yelling at the refs about at one point, and he thought like the tight end was covered up on the other side of the field. So he's screaming at the official on his side of the field, and he's like, they can't, what are they going to do? It's like on the other side of the field, but even he knows it. But
that's funny.
Yeah. So Gonzalez was my third boom. I don't know if you had a different one.
No, Gonzalez is a good boom. I think I had like pass defense overall as a boom, but I actually didn't put him in my gamer. Andy Borregales weren't the toughest kicks. But rookie kicker in the cold, some wind, he hit them all.
Especially on a night when it was early and the Patriots passed up on what I think would have been a 55-yarder.
Right.
When they went for it on fourth down.
Yep.
Which is obviously, in the conditions and the game situation, was the right call. But I think if you're a football player or an athlete, you kind of must feel a certain way if you're looked over in that situation, right? Like, you're prepared, you want to do it. So to sort of, I don't want to say overcome, that's probably over the top, but to work through that and then still be money when you need it. He's from Miami. Like, this has got to be new. I can't imagine what that's like. So he seems to be adapting.
Booty, he gets a little honorable mention as well for his performance, I feel like.
That's fair. Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, I'd have to look at it again, that he stole an interception. It looked like that was more, I don't know. It was a nice grab.
It could have been caught, but he came back for the ball, which was huge.
It was a nice catch because it looked a little high off the hand, but it wasn't.
Yeah. And then obviously Jack Westover, 8-yard catch. Big block on that 13-yard run by Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah. Interesting if you were to lay out the odds, you're the odds makers, you're out there in Las Vegas, you get like the yellow shades and you got the green billed hat. I don't know what I'm describing, a banker in the 30s maybe. And you're like, all right, catches in the first half for Efton, Chisholm, and Jack Westover. Oh, Westover might have been the third quarter, actually. Dang.
Yeah.
Well, catches overall for Efton, Chisholm, and Jack Westover. Be like,
I know.
Plus $1 billion. And there it is.
There they were.
Everyone but Hooper caught a pass, right? Or did Douglas?
I know, and Hooper should have. That was pretty shocking from Drake.
Oh, that was a bad pass by Drake Maye. He had the whole left corner of the field unoccupied, and he threw
Yeah.
it basically to the goalpost.
Shocking.
Damn, yeah.
Truly shocking.
Douglas did have a catch. So yeah, everyone but Hooper and Drake Maye had a catch.
That is true. Dooms. You got a doom?
I thought it's a specific one, and it was Drake Maye on his last fumble, because I don't think he was a doom overall, but just that last fumble, it's sort of similar to the Pittsburgh game where it's like that's the one thing that's the one thing that could lead to a loss is
Right.
turning the ball over in this situation, and it's in the pocket and the balls. It's just that I know what makes him him, and you've got to be aggressive and you got to be confident. But a turnover in that spot could have been really bad. If the other team's offense was functional, that would have been pretty dangerous. So I think that was sort of I don't want to say a red flag because it is a learning moment, but that fumble to me was a doom, excuse me.
That's totally fair. I think that he definitely could have done a better job protecting the ball. I'm going to go with pass protection. Not nearly as bad as the Chargers pass protection, but Jared Wilson allows 2 sacks. I think we talked about it midweek. Like, I don't know if they do it now. If I'm a Patriots coach, I think I have a conversation about do we go with Ben Brown or Jared Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
They've wanted to throw Wilson out there, and he jumped on the fumble. That was huge. But Will Campbell, I believe, also allowed a strip sack. Not like, listen, when you're comparing yourself to the Patriots offensive line allowed nearly half the pressure rate that the Chargers did.
Mm-hmm.
So when put in that context, it doesn't look nearly as bad. But when you're allowing 38% pressure rate, it's not great. And I think that was obviously forcing some mistakes ball security wise from Drake Maye.
I do want to. I mean, Wilson did look confused a few times, and he was sort of the one facing Drake Maye as he gets hit. And you're like, well, that's not good. There was one where Collinsworth kind of called out Campbell and Wilson as the rookies on the left side. And then they showed the replay, and Wilson actually did his job. It was more Bradbury got blocked and was engaged in his blocking, got carried into basically Wilson's space. And Wilson's guy just backed up and ran around Bradbury and got the sack. So there was like the broadcast can impact fans' sort of interpretation of things a little too much. And like I was with Collinsworth live, you see the guy through, but you rewatch it. So I'd like to see it again. I just brought up, this one is a little surprising to me. I brought up the initial PFF grades. The second rated Patriot was Will Campbell on offense with a 74.4. Because he looked like he got bullied a little bit. And he kind of did, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's never as bad as it might look.
I guess
immediately.
So.
But
so your top offensive players: number 1, Ramondre Stevenson; number 2, Chargers tackle Trey Pipkins. Way to go! Didn't really impact the game that much. Then you had Will Campbell at 3, Morgan Moses at 4, and then Hunter Henry at 5. So I don't know; those are initial grades. We'll see, but I do think that I think you're right to sort of focus on Wilson as the improvement spot because, again, we said like I don't know that you lose anything by putting Ben Brown in there,
right?
And you might.
He's been so solid this season.
You might gain something, so probably worthwhile or worth kicking around.
Who's another boom?
I also had the O-line issues that you mentioned, and then like I said, I didn't think Harold Landry had a good game. I didn't see him involved in a game where getting after the quarterback was going to be easy. You kind of looked to him to lead the way, and he didn't. So not a good game from him.
Mike Vrabel did give him a special shout out for stopping Vidal on the fumble recovery. So
hustle play.
But I mean, that's obviously it's a hustle play. It's not something that he's doing specifically in the backfield. Yeah. I did have Carlton Davis on here. He whiffed on a pass breakup early in the game.
First play, right?
Yeah, I think it was the first play. Had the defensive pass interference later. Left the game briefly with a toe injury. Just obviously, not the greatest performance from Carlton Davis. And
can I take the Doug roll real quick?
Sure.
Normally you're the one defending Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
He got a piece of that one on the first play.
Oh yeah.
He tipped it. It was just not enough to disrupt it. So a risk certainly, and it cost him 25 yards. But carry on.
No, that's fair. But he makes it on there, and so does Efton Chisholm's throw.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a panic throw. The lights are bright, but Yeah, I guess he specifically didn't make our booms or dooms, but I think we did cover Drake Maye earlier. Like,
We did, yeah.
not a game that was, it wasn't an A game from him, but he had some A moments. And I think the touchdown pass, and he even talked about it post game, where it was like, I missed hoop. I had to give Hunter Henry a chance to throw it. And he even said, he explained probably more than the coaching staff would like, but he's like, they had a flat control that should have drawn Derwin James closer to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
But Derwin James sniffed it out and drifted back.
Yeah.
And Drake Maye was able to throw that ball about 2 inches over Derwin James' hands, right to Hunter Henry's chest. Like, that ball on a windy night in January was sick.
Yeah.
So
it really was.
As much as you're not going to sit here and be like, Drake Maye was unbelievable. Right. I think that play, I think the 30-yard scamper he had,
37, I think, yeah.
He looked fast. He had these moments again. Early on, I thought he didn't look that fast. He was getting sort of pursued and chased down for short gains. And you're like, man, he usually turns the corner on these guys. But he kind of saved that for that big run. So, he's the quarterback. He's going to get the most attention. I think he had a good enough game. And the biggest thing, Justin Herbert's there in year 6, doesn't have a playoff win. And you got one there in your first year as a starter. I think that's pretty significant.
I know we talked about it earlier, and we talked about it all week, really. But, Herbert, I hate to be this person, but because I feel like Herbert's probably a guy that I would, get along with in real life.
Herbert, yeah, for sure.
But
he seems to have
as an NFL quarterback, and I'm painting with a broad brush. I don't know Justin Herbert personally. I've never talked to him, but it feels like you do need a different personality than he has as an NFL quarterback.
I have another thought on that.
He's just he seems very chill. I think even going into the draft, they were like, he's not the biggest personality. He's not the most vocal guy. I don't know how he is as a leader. And he also just doesn't have that fire that other quarterbacks have.
Yeah, I don't want to dump on him there because he's so tough, obviously, right? He got smothered last night, and we saw him on that. Was it a Monday night game against the Eagles in November or early December where it was his first game with the broken hand, and he's having designed runs to win the game. So I think he's tough as nails, and that can work. Yeah. But you're right. There has to be sort of a performance measure that lifts you. Being tough as hell gets you so far, but then it has to be tough as hell and makes the 45-yard touchdown pass.
Right.
That's currently lacking. That being said, I don't know that he was put in a position to win last night. And that's where my thought was going. I was not really on this until midweek or maybe earlier in the week. Felger and Maz played some of Jim Harbaugh's press conference. I don't think he's with it. I'm serious. He is not the Jim Harbaugh who coached the 49ers. That's for sure. And I don't even know if it's the Jim Harbaugh that coached the Wolverines. He's not. He's just kind of yeah. I don't know if you caught his post game last night. He's like, I wish I had the answers. I don't have
right.
And it's just man, you don't sound good. And so it's a coach that we sort of all not revere, but expected to be sort of a lock to be one of the top 10 coaches in the league. I don't think he is. So it's a tough combination out there.
It is. Yeah. I read his transcript. I didn't see it, or I certainly wasn't there live for it. But yeah, I mean, didn't guarantee that Greg Roman was going to be the OC next year, which was definitely interesting. But also, I don't know, why is Greg Roman an OC?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild still.
Yeah. I agree. But if you look at for Drake Maye's purposes, getting that playoff win, I don't know what it does long term because Trevor Lawrence has a playoff win. CJ Stroud has a playoff win. Does Sam Darnold have a playoff win? I don't think so, right?
Maybe not. Yeah.
I'm checking. No, he's so Sam Darnold is in year what? 8?
Right.
9. He has no playoff win. Tua doesn't have a playoff win. I'm just trying to look around the league.
Yeah, really big for May to get that monkey off his back early.
Bryce Young doesn't have a playoff win. Jaden Daniels certainly does. But you know what I mean.
Does Patrick Mahomes?
He has a few. Yeah, Caleb Williams obviously got one. But I just think it's important to get get that win. And it's sort of like Justin Herbert now is facing that moving forward, and it just builds momentum and sort of snowballs. At least, like, again, you can point out some flaws in Drake Maye's game, but at least you can say, like, he played and won a game in the playoffs.
Right. No, definitely. And yeah, he finished positive EPA per play, negative completion percentage over expected, 56.5 QBR. So not certainly his greatest performance of the season, but second half was huge for him. What other leftover stuff do you have? Because we got to get out of here in like 3 to 5 minutes.
He was nearly perfect in the second half, which I think should stand out. Let me see. I mentioned Brady being great. I don't know if you caught the final drive of the Eagles game. Like, they're driving. It's like a 3-minute.
Well, I saw the game, but I didn't hear him.
Yeah, so it was like they got the ball with 3 minutes, and they got to drive the length of the field, and they get a big play. They get to the 21, and Brady's like, "All right, you want to keep some hurry up here, but not too fast." And he's explaining like what's going through your mind, because there would be times in Brady's comebacks, late in the fourth, where everyone's kind of like, "Wah!" and he's just like calm as a cucumber. I think it was cool to hear him sort of talk through that, but unfortunately, it was a waste because Jalen Hurts was not going through any of that. He was just panicking. So,
what makes cucumber the calmest vegetable?
It's full of water, so it's hydrated. There's not much taste, not much zing. It's just sort of chill.
It is kind of cool.
It's a nice crunchy.
It's a refrigerated.
It's refrigerated. It is cool.
Cool.
Technically cool. The other thought with that, like, I've been thinking this for a while. I think the way we look at Trent Dilfer winning a Super Bowl, the way we look at Brad Johnson winning a Super Bowl, I feel like the Hurts Sirianni combo is going to look in history like one of the weirdest. Like, it might be surpassing Foles Peterson as just that duo won a Super Bowl, because like Sirianni is a clown. Like, he's going after AJ Brown and like starting a fight in the middle of a playoff game.
Yeah,
that team had the most talent in the league and sucked all year, and there's just no excuse for it.
I disagree. Foles and Peterson is weirder, but because Hurts has had some good seasons, but I think he's probably played the best stretch of football that he will play during his career already. Yeah.
Even during the Super Bowl, like, his speed looks his like running speed looks so much slower.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree with that. And then lastly, I had one last thought, because Matthew Stafford threw like a ton of picks in Carolina and wasn't great, but then threw a couple of touchdowns to win the game. And Dan Orlovsky decided to piss everyone in New England off by tweeting MVP. I'll just say that was a weird tweet by a weird man, and you just got to take it for what it is. Fair enough.
That's fair.
I wanted last night after Drake Maye's game to tweet MVP, just to add to it.
Just quote tweet him MVP. Sorry, wait. Did you have something to say on the Liam Cohen moment?
Oh, right. The moment of the day yesterday. The female reporter in Jacksonville telling Liam Cohen to keep his head up.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter saying this is an amazing moment, and a ton of reporters freaking out saying it's not amazing. It was a bit much, like, all around. It was a bit much. It's okay to not have visceral, like, strong reactions to it. Like, I saw it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, that's not really what a press conference is for. It's kind of weird, but I wasn't bothered by it. If I was at that press conference working, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of weird. I'm moving on though. Right?
Yeah. So I think I certainly wasn't going to like tweet about it.
Yeah. We're going to podcast about it, but
it was uncomfortable. I felt awkward. There was a visceral, awkward reaction that I had to the whole moment, because I think that's the last thing an NFL head coach really actually even wants to hear in that situation.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
I think that was what I found strangest about everyone being like, oh, this is such an amazing moment, such an awesome moment. Like, he looks uncomfortable, and I would have been uncomfortable. And yeah, it's a press conference is probably not the time to do that, or is not the time to do that. Am I going to do that? Absolutely friggin' not. But yeah, Schefter saying it was amazing, but then everyone comes out looking not great about it because everyone has to then go against that. And then there's people going against the reporters who probably never would have even thought that it was an amazing moment, but then have to say it was, because reporters are being a certain way about it. I don't know. It was just very similar to the Aaron Andrews situation where you're like, I don't know, no one comes out looking great in this situation.
Yeah, it was just a bit much. I would
The Aaron Andrews comments about how you have to
oh
miss holidays as a journalist.
yeah.
That's the one I was talking about.
I think one thing that
Not her
maybe
jacket. Did you see her jacket?
no, I saw someone tweet about it. I legit didn't see it. Was it nice?
It was big.
Good for her. It wasn't that cold out last night. It was windy, but the
She
press
wasn't
conference.
at the Patriots game.
Oh, what game was she at? The Eagles game?
Probably the Tom Brady game. She works with Tom
Yeah,
Brady.
that's true. She doesn't work for NBC. That's a good point by you. It did look colder in Philly than it did here. The press conference, like it used to be a press conference for the press, you know? And if someone talked for 10 minutes, it would be your job as a writer to grab probably 45 to 70 seconds of that in quotes, because that's sort of or a TV station would grab a 15-second bite. And that's sort of what it was. But somewhere when T.O. was on the Cowboys, SportsCenter started airing press conferences in full. You get Wade Phillips, full press conference. You get T.O.'s full, you get Tony Romo's full press conference. It's like, that's not what a press conference is.
Right.
And at a certain point, that became sort of a TV show in and of itself.
Right.
And so it's kind of distorted the whole concept of what the press conference is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those reporters who were all pissy, tweeting like, we're on tight deadlines, come from an era when like the press conference was the press conference. And it isn't really that anymore.
I will say that if I really wanted to get a question into Mike Vrabel, and that was one of the questions that was asked, I would be perturbed about it.
Yeah.
I'm less perturbed about the deadline aspect because I don't think that was adding time to the press conference.
Right.
It was subtracting a question, which
I don't know that they were shuffling him off. I don't know. I've always been the belief
that much Jaguars media either. I don't know.
Right.
It is what
it's
it is.
not the toughest media market. I would say, Doug, I guess at this point, a former writer, a former sports writer. My mindset was always like, if you need a quote for your story, you're not in a good spot. You know, you should be able to write your story, and the quote adds certain insight or an angle or color or detail, but you should still be able to write it without it. That being said, you should be able to ask the head coach a question, and if that did cost you one, sure, you could be a little perturbed. But you've been at end of like playoff losses, post game press conference, especially when like the head coach was Stephen Belichick. You're not getting a lot anyway, so who knows what that press? I didn't watch the whole Liam Cohen press conference, so I can't speak to it.
The moment reminded me more of the New Year's resolution question to Bill Belichick. I thought of
that too,
and the thick and thin question to Bill Belichick, where it was just like, oh, this is viscerally awkward. This isn't like oh God, journalism's dying because of this question being asked. Yeah.
I think the New Year's resolution saga, because it was a 2-part saga, was one of the funniest moments in Patriots history.
All right. On that note, we will get out of here. We will talk to you guys again midweek. We will decide on that at a later date, but it will be fun to talk about who the Patriots are playing because I believe we're both going to be watching this game pretty closely on Monday night. So we'll talk to you then. Goodbye.